What is workplace violence? Workplace violence describes violence or a threat of violence against workers. It can happen at or outside of the workplace. It varies from threats and verbal abuse to physical harm and homicide. It's one of the leading causes of job-related deaths. However it happens, workplace violence is a big concern for employers and employees across the country. Various actions in a work environment can cause workplace violence. For example, anger over punishment or getting fired, or a customer refusing to follow the rules of the business. It can also come from a non-work related situation such as domestic violence, road rage, or hate crimes. A hate crime involves violence and intolerance against a person because of their race, country of origin, religion, sexual orientation, or a disability. Workplace violence can be caused by an abusive employee, manager, supervisor, coworker, customer, family member, or stranger. Whatever or whoever the cause is, workplace violence is never accepted or tolerated. There is no foolproof way to predict someone's behavior. There might be warning signs, but there's no specific description of someone who might be dangerous. Violence and anger include verbal and emotional abuse or threats, and the physical attack to someone or property from another person or group. The effect of violence on a victim depends on the harshness of the act and the victim's experiences, skills, and personality. Violent acts include verbal abuse in person or on the phone, written abuse, harassment, threats, ganging up to bully or scare someone, physical or sexual attacks, armed robbery, harmful damage to property of staff, customers, or the business. Workplace violence may not always seem like an extreme situation from the beginning. It can sometimes follow a pattern of behavior that grows in its level of danger. It can start from distress, anger or frustration, and scary body language and turn into verbal or written abuse and threats, physical threats, and assault, i.e. an attack. There are two reasons for workplace violence. Material gain. This is when the offender wants money, drugs, or valuable goods and they use violence to get it. Non-material gain. This includes sexual attacks, taking hostages, and the incidental attack on people in a direct area in the workplace. Sometimes, unwelcome behavior appears as discrimination or verbal and sexual harassment. It could be from staff, clients, customers, or the public. While this behavior is inappropriate and stressful, they don't always come with anger and violence. Nonviolent discrimination or harassment should be dealt with as early as possible so they don't become more serious or lead to violent behavior. Workplace bullying is angry behavior that scares, embarrasses, and weakens a person or group. Bullying is the repeated, unfavorable treatment of a person by someone or a group of people in the workplace. It is always unreasonable and inappropriate. Examples of bullying at work include yelling, screaming, abusive language, always criticizing someone, isolating or ignoring a worker, and damaging someone's work or ability to do their job by not giving them important information, proper training, and resources. Bullying comes from someone or a group needing to have power or to show superiority over someone else. Sources of workplace violence. Any one or a mixture of these situations could create workplace violence. Offenders might take money, drugs, or goods from a business or employee. Attacks can seem random but are usually planned. The offender knows your business has something they want. They will go where security and violence control measures aren't very good. Offenders may not be rational when they attack or could be drunk or on drugs. Some offenders could be interested in non-material gain. An example of that is sexual assault. Sex offenders may watch victims, plan the attack, or choose victims at random when they get the chance. Working alone, leaving work at night, and traveling home alone can be big risks. Extreme environments of workers being overloaded with work and overly pushed to perform by supervisors can also cause workplace violence. When people commit violent acts, it's not usually a unique situation. They may have a past of violent behavior. Clients may be unhappy with multiple parts of your business, like cost, performance of the product or service, treatment by staff, repeated delays, and inconveniences. These things don't excuse violence. They should be recognized as possible reasons for an offender's actions. Clients and their friends and relatives may take violent action on workers trying to help them. Sometimes, the event can happen in a single experience with a service. For example, a relative of a seriously hurt person trying to have them cared for at a hospital. In most cases, violence happens after a bunch of smaller conflicts over a period of time. Discrimination and harassment bullying is the need for personal gain and pleasure. It's said that violent acts are committed for their own needs with little to no plans. Random vandalism, destruction of property, is an example. Some robberies happen randomly, in the moment, brought on by opportunity. If there's no staff or valuables are left in an easy-to-reach place, offenders take what they want. Less common angry behaviors include making barricades and hostage-taking. Clients whose minds are affected by drugs or alcohol, or those going through withdrawals, may be violent. It is possible to have a strategy to prevent this, as well as procedures to handle violent situations in case they happen. Incidental violence, like robbery or attacking someone in the workplace, can affect the staff. While some staff may not be physically attacked, they may suffer trauma from the sight of it. You may not be able to stop these situations, but you could have procedures in place to minimize the damage. Who is vulnerable? About 2 million American workers are victims of this violence each year. Workplace violence can happen anywhere, and no one is an exception. The best protection employers can offer is to create a zero-tolerance policy about workplace violence against or by employees. The employer should have a workplace violence prevention program, or add information to an existing program, employee handbook, or manual of standard operating procedure. It's important to ensure all employees know the policy and understand that claims of workplace violence will be investigated and dealt with immediately. Employers can also offer protections like the following: providing safety education, like a course for employees to teach them what actions are unacceptable. They'll learn what to do if they witness or endure workplace violence and how to protect themselves. Securing the workplace. Depending on the business, you can install video surveillance, extra lighting, alarm systems, and cut down on outsiders through identification badges, electronic keys, and guards. Providing safes to limit the amount of cash on hand. Keep a small amount of cash in the registers in the evening and late night hours. Equipping staff with cell phones, handheld alarms, or noise devices. Require them to make a daily work plan and keep a contact person informed of their location through the day. Keeping employee vehicles properly maintained. Telling employees not to enter an unsafe location, bring in a buddy system, or provide police assistance in possibly dangerous situations or at night. Developing rules and processes to cover visits by home health care providers. Talk about the conduct of home visits, the presence of others in the home during visits, and the worker's right to refuse services in dangerous situations. Employers and managers. Employers and managers should know the effects of workplace violence dangers managers and supervisors are responsible for. Creating preventative tactics and consulting with employees. Making sure preventative tactics are understood by employees. Ensuring the tactics are monitored and working well. Employees. Workplace violence dangers must be discussed with employees, and they must know what's in place for their protection. They must be properly trained on the topic of the equipment, avoiding risks, and what to do if a workplace violence incident happens. Think of the needs of the employees who do not speak English and make sure they know the risks and chosen controls. Contractors, suppliers, customers, and visitors are people who work for you and enter your workplace, so they must be given the correct information about workplace violence procedures. Do this through signs or written and verbal actions. The risk assessment process decides the level of information given. You may have already taken action to cut down risks. It's important to know if your decisions still give effective safeguards to your employees before health and safety of anyone is at risk. Conduct a regular review of procedures involving people in your workplace who have responsibilities for health and safety. If work practices are changed or new practices and control tactics come up, review your preventative measures to ensure they are effective and safe and won't create new dangers. If you have new information about a danger that was overlooked, review your preventative tactics. If an accident, injury, incident, or a near miss in the workplace happens involving violence, review the procedures you have and make changes to prevent it from happening again. How can employees protect themselves? Nothing promises an employee that they won't become a victim of workplace violence. These steps can help reduce your chances. Learn to identify, avoid, or correct possible violent situations by taking personal safety training courses. Tell supervisors about concerns in safety or security. Report all incidents right away in writing. Avoid going to unfamiliar locations or situations alone whenever you can. Carry small amounts of money and required identification for community settings. What should employers do after an incident of workplace violence? Encourage employees to report and keep track of all incidents and threats involving workplace violence. Provide immediate medical assistance and treatment after an event. Report violent incidents to the local police right away. Let the victims know about their legal right to prosecute offenders. Discuss what happened with staff members. Give employees a chance to share information on ways to avoid a certain situation in the future. Offer stress interview sessions and post-traumatic counseling services to help workers heal after a violent incident. Investigate all violent incidents and threats, monitor patterns in violent incidents by type or circumstance, and take corrective actions. Discuss changes in the program during regular employee meetings. Help make the world a better place. Do your part to end violence in the workplace.